time to save the environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay, so one of the really big problems in our world is plastics. 300 million tons of plastics were produced last year, and 80% of that was ended up in a landfill. It's killing the planet. Not a very good thing. Food packaging manufacturers are a really, really big part of that because they use single-use plastics in a lot of their manufacturing for wrappers, bags, that sort of thing. They need to use another type of plastic, or at least another material. Our solution is PHA. PHA is a plastic made from bacteria and vegetable oil that is completely compostable, just like any kind of composting that you could do in your backyard. Really easy. We can make PHA in our biobin using 3 simple materials: the bacteria, vegetable oil, and agar, which is a nutrient for that bacteria that's in there. Where do we get our oil from, though? Restaurants. So restaurants are normally just having to pay to get rid of this oil. So we're actually going to be able to purchase the oil from them, giving them an overall net income in their annual expenses. So with this oil, we can remove the PHA from our biobin there and sell it to manufacturers at a lower cost than what they're currently paying for their single-use plastics. So they now have an eco-friendly solution that does not interfere with their manufacturing processes at all. So with PHA seemingly integrated into their solution, single-use plastics are reduced significantly and replaced with a dynamic and biodegradable material, which is PHA. So who are we? We are Sarcina Analytics, composed of team members Dylan, Kaylin, Anthony, and Adam. We can go on to the next one here. Did you know that 6 billion tons of plastic has accumulated on planet Earth since 1950? And as I mentioned before, 300 million tons of that is produced every year. So it's not a very good thing. You kind of tell by this graph. Our recycle rate down here, only about 9% of the overall plastic currently on our Earth is being recycled. It's not a very good solution that we have currently. So we need to replace this plastic, and we're focusing on the food industry as our scope for this project. And even over the past 2 days, you can see we collected quite a bit of single-use plastics in this bucket right here. We had people kind of just throw it in there. This trash is piling up in landfills and threatening ecosystems, animals in those ecosystems, as well as human health. So,
our solution is PHA. PHA is a plastic made by bacteria using vegetable oil. In fact, we can use a type of bacillus bacteria that is FDA approved, commonly found in probiotics, and is in each and every single one of you right now. The process of using biology to make plastic is a technologically sound process backed by tons of peer-reviewed research, including the International Journal of Molecular Sciences. And we did think of alternative solutions. What if we could just get rid of the plastic altogether? Not feasible. Well, what about other plastics? Not eco-friendly. There are other bioplastics on the market, but to break them down requires a lot of energy and land and resources, and that's not a very good solution. So why use PHA? It meets the exact same design requirements of our plastic now. It can be used in existing manufacturing processes. It has the same material properties to be able to store and food safely, is dynamic enough to be made into any kind of package you need, but best of all, it is completely compostable in your own backyard garden. Regular plastic has a 10% efficiency rate of production. PHA has a 60 to 80% efficiency rate.
Now, where will we get that PHA? PHA comes from this bottle right here, a scale model about what would be roughly the size of a trash can. Our biobin would have bacteria and agar sitting at the bottom, and vegetable oil would be poured in to be making plastic as we speak.
I actually have some bacteria in this cup right now from a probiotic. I'm going to add the oil, and we can start making biodegradable plastic while we finish our presentation.
Now, where will we get the oil for production? Restaurants. We take the used oil from the businesses. We refine it to get the PHA plastics. Then we sell it to manufacturers, and they make their own product from it. The end product is now biodegradable. They are producing the same amount of material, but it is now compostable, not single-use, and it's cheaper. Not to mention there's usually leftover plastic, scrap, in making products, and now we can buy that back. Another incentive for manufacturers to compost and sell. A full green cycle for the packaging, and a full circle of money and incentives for all the people involved. Your local mom and pop shop restaurant produces about 10,500 pounds of oil a year. But it costs them $5,200 just to get rid of it. What we're suggesting is that we will take that from them. We want to go there. We would go there, and instead of them paying $5,200, we'd pay them $1,000. We'd pay about 10 cents per pound of oil. And they would receive our bin. It fills it with oil. We collect it and we pay them. And then we restart the cycle. Something that could be, something we could do right here in Boise, all through our easy-to-use website.
For the extraction, the oil and the plastic bacteria would mix in the bin. The PHA and bacteria would be run through a simple salt and centrifuge treatment to extract the PHA as a powder. We sell this powder to food packaging manufacturers for cheaper than they buy their current plastics. This powder can be made into cookie wrappers, chip wrappers, and any other type of packaging. Manufacturers can use our PHA in their current productions, making it a hassle-free change and eco-friendly for the world.
By integrating PHA into manufacturing by marketing, we can decrease the food industry's dependency on single-use plastics with a material that is versatile and eco-friendly. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah.
Why would you pay the restaurant for the oil when you're already doing them a favor by diverting costs spent for processing?
Right.
You should approach them and say, you can help solve the problem, give this to us, and then you'll have more money to invest in your business.
True. The reason we'd actually suggested that 10 cents per pound amount is as an incentive to get businesses on board. Oftentimes, if they have these processes in place already, and it may not be saving them a measurable amount of money, obviously it would depend on the scale of the business, they're hesitant to lean in towards these things. So that's why we figured some kind of monetary incentive to push it into the grain versus just eliminating that cost. Now we're not only eliminating that cost, but we're actually getting them money as well. So it's almost adding like that kind of incentive to get that. Not to mention that 10 cents per pound is actually 3 times less than if you were to go and bulk purchase vegetable oil off of some kind of like restaurant bulk market. So we're actually saving a ton of money, and we're still getting that that incentive out of businesses to get them on board with this idea.
And I'd like to add to that, I worked on Panda Express at Aramark, and how we treat that oil is normally we would throw it into a bin, but sometimes if we got lazy, it would go down into certain places, and that's not what's supposed to be happening. And that, you know, as a company, especially as big as we are, and we're supposed to be representing that, to do that damages an entire system just by doing that.
So if you're giving them a financial advantage, then they're going to have less incentive to just dump it down the drain.
Yes.
Right,
All right.
right.
How would you say what's unique about either what you're proposing or the adaptation aspect of it? I didn't quite pick that up.
Okay, so the unique part of it is that these bioplastics already exist. PHA exists out there. There's a couple small companies that are using it. But our unique part is that we're introducing this marketing model to connect it all together. So we have our PHA, but we have manufacturers that aren't using it. So we're taking current technology and giving them an incentive to use it.
Any reason why you never defined what PHA stands for?
PHA, it's a really, really long word.
Doesn't matter.
Polyhydroxanoflanotates?
Okay.
Yes.
It's just something that-
Polyhydroxanoflanotates.
When you make a presentation, don't use an abbreviation that you haven't already defined.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
So the oil that you collect will have food particles in it.
Right, right.
So how, have you done any thinking about how those food particles might change the process?
Yes,
the PHA?
so the food particles, when they go into the bacteria are able to use a lot of different types of things to make the energy that they need, so they would just take it in right along with it.
Mhm. They use basically the food particles in the oil as energy to produce
Yeah.
plastic. Any other questions?
Okay. Scott?
Thank you guys very much.